to live coverage of the Inside Line Racing League. It's ILR1, it's the PS4, it's the Austrian Grand Prix, round 9 of what has been a pulsating championship so far. I'm Ginger Andy, and joining me in the commentary box, it's Ali Monda, or Mark, whatever you prefer to be called. Mark, it's going to be a cracking race weekend, isn't it, here in Austria?
Yes, I always love tracks like this, very short circuit length. It keeps the field nice and tidy together, so we should be in for a brilliant race tonight, Andy.
Yeah, it should be another cracker. There's been so many fantastic races, such a tightly fought World Championship battle, which you have to feel VSR Blizzard in the last race in France really showed that he could really take a grip of the championship with so many of his big rivals in the championship falling away, and he's really opened up a commanding lead in the standings, and they're going to have to really bite back here today in the Styrian Mountains if they want to stay in touch with the McLaren driver, don't they?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, he was the only driver in the top 5 to actually finish in the points, and he got maximum points. So he went from a very narrow championship lead to one that's over 31 points. Luckily for all his rivals, they still have plenty of races to go in this season to catch up, but could be a significant moment come the end.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. It's could be one of the key moments, but there's, as you say, it's such a long season, so many twists and turns. This is only round 9 of 21. So it's going to be a thrilling season. We're seeing some lap times on the board nice and early. A 1 minute 3.8 from Neo at 1993 is the quickest one so far. Emerson Hamilton 1 minute 3.996 as well. Most drivers opting for the ultra soft tyre. It should be another simple one-stop race, and I would think it will be ultra soft to the soft compound tyre for those guys inside the top 10, wouldn't it?
Yes, well, there's been heavy use of the ultra softs already so far, so it could be an indication we might have at least the start of the race being a wet one, because I'm surprised we're not seeing more people opting for the super softs so far.
We'll see what does happen, whether the ultra soft are the tyre they believe they can get to the end. I mean, I'm sure they can get to the end of the race from ultra softs onto a set of softs, but of course putting those extra laps on them in qualifying doesn't really help at all. Let's see if we can pick someone out on the track. I'm going on board with CSR Leon. He's on an out lap. Let's try and find someone who's on a quick one. There's VSR Blizzard, currently P4. Is this a quick lap from him? It looks like it. He's in mode 5, so he opens up the DRS and runs down between turns 3 and 4, which of course is one of quite a few overtaking opportunities on this racetrack. You can make a move up the hill into turn 1, and if you don't manage that, up the hill into turn 3, because there's a slight kink on that straight. Turn 2, as it's now known. Back in 2017 it was added as a corner to this racetrack. So actually 10 corners on this racetrack. It is the shortest lap in terms of corners, sorry, the shortest lap in terms of lap time over the course of the season, and is also the shortest in terms of the number of corners, the fewest corners on the calendar. So VSR Blizzard rounding the final corner, 1 minute 3.816 to beat. What can the championship leader do? He can go fastest of all by 0.2 of a second on a 1 minute 3.6, 2/10 quicker than his McLaren teammate Neo.
Yes, well, obviously there is news that KB has actually left ILR1, so his teammate, who's been a very good support act for him this season, has decided for the time being to leave. Whether he'll come back next week, we will find out. So Neo, actually one of the reserves, and doing a really good job so far. I believe this is his first appearance this season. Yeah,
I was thinking that as well. It wasn't a name I was too familiar with at all, and apparently doing exactly the same job as what Killerzone is doing, being right up there, challenging his teammate as TTG Poe, I always struggle with that one, goes P2, and he was very impressive last week. I'm pretty sure he finished on the podium, so it looks like he's continuing that fine form here in Austria, and all of a sudden emerging as a very strong driver in recent weeks, isn't he?
Yes, I mean, a bit of a patchy start to the season, but he's really started to find some good form, Poe, and you know, there's still a lot of rounds to go, but I think what he would probably like just to find a little bit more consistency in terms of his starts, because at times he has lost a few places at the starts, which hasn't cost him some of his results, but it could have cost him maybe getting onto the top step.
Yeah, absolutely. As we watch Zoom out there on the racetrack, making his way down towards turns 7 and 8. That second part of that corner, that sequence, turn 8, really does spit you out onto the curb, and if you get turn 7 wrong, you will find yourself going off into the gravel. Now down towards turns 9 and 10, which of course, if you're on a perfect lap up until this point, you might sometimes try and take a little bit more conservatively. You don't want to run wide and ruin your lap, but here comes Jim to the line, and he is showing that he wants to bounce back after a disappointing French Grand Prix. And look at that, only a tenth away from VSR Blizzard at the top. Is this the day where June bounces back? He was 6 points behind, he's now 31 points behind after that disastrous race he had in France, as so many as the championship contenders did. No sign of VSR Lewis here today. I don't know what's happened to him again. No sign of him, and he was another one that had a bit of heartbreak last time out, wasn't he? Because he was running so well and was on course to win that race if it wasn't for a glitch.
Yes, well, we believe that somewhere in Vienna, Lewis had some sort of drunken bar incident, so he's been barred from the circuit. It's a bit of a disaster for the reigning champion not to be here, but great opportunity for the rest of the field.
Yeah, reigning champion, I think, well, we've been saying and prolonging his chances in the championship, giving him an extra week. I think now, Mark, is might be the end of any championship hopes for him. Would you agree with that? No points again this week. It's over 100 points now in the championship. I think it's beginning to look like his reign is going to be at an end.
Yes, I mean, you know, winning the championship is difficult enough, but staying on top of the mountain is an even greater challenge. And you know, he's had some bad luck. You know, he's had the couple of disconnects, and I think he got stuck in the pit lane at one race as well. Yeah. In fact, I think that might have been last week. I can't remember. Yeah, it was. But yes, anything that could have gone wrong for him. It kind of reminds me of Sebastian Vettel after he won 2013 championship, and then 2014 was pretty much a disaster for him after that. So it's kind of shades of that in the Red Bull.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. It is typical that it's in the Red Bull as well, of course. And I think this is one of those races, actually, the Austrian Grand Prix, where Sebastian Vettel fails to pick up any points. As I keep an eye on little blocks as he coming into the pits. It looks like a line that suggests a pit stop. He's P17 in the standings in this race at the moment, in this qualifying session. No time on the board from Lickle, as Bugatti is currently P18. He's getting for a time on the board. Let's see if he can pick up VSR Blizzard. He's still a fraction quicker than Francis, who is now gone at P2, who is showing that he's got great qualifying pace at times, does VSR Francis. So what can he do today? Can he show that in race trim as well, as Blizzard tries to extend his advantage as he goes flying through turn 6 and down towards turn 7 and 8. Turn 6, Mark, it's probably the most difficult corner on this racetrack. It's blind on entry, and the drivers really have to try and guess their way through there, don't they?
Yes, they really do. It's all about, you know, modulating the throttle and then, you know, not getting onto the power too early and just flying around that corner. It's a very tricky corner to judge, that one. Yeah, oh, there you go.
Yeah, just quicker again. 1 minute 3.5 now. He extends his advantage by a tenth once more. Josh has now gone P4 on the 1 minute 3.7. And is he on another quick one? I don't think so. He's in mode 2 going down the back straight, so I would think not. Zoom is on an outlap. Gordon ends in the pit. Poe, is he on a quick one? Let's have a look at Poe then. P6 at the moment, and as you mentioned, didn't have a good start to the season at all. So many DNFs, of course, didn't start the first couple of races, but points, scores in Bahrain, or was it Baku in fact? Yeah, it was Baku. He picked up points scored in Canada, and then followed it up with a podium in France. And now P6 here in qualifying, so let's see what he can do as he comes to the end of this current lap. The Renault driver, just a few corners to go as he swoops downhill through turn 9 and then into the final corner of turn 10. Just a couple of tenths is all he needs to find to put that car up onto the front row, such as the close nature of the field round here, and Poe does exactly that, finds a tenth and a half, or just over a tenth and a half, and goes on to the front row. P2 for Poe, great effort.
Yeah, it's really good effort from the Renault driver. It's kind of outclassing CC Brain, who's got the lion's share of some of the early good results early on in the season. But I just wanted to talk about Blizzard just before we enter the last part of qualifying. When you look at the statistics, I mean, one of the most telling things is that even when he's had a bad day, he's been able to get good results. He's averaged 15 points a race, and no one is within 3 points of that. June has averaged 11.5. And in terms of the average qualifying position, I think this is the most telling stat, because this really sets Blizzard up for a good race time and time again. His average qualifying position is between 4th to 5th, whereas June, his average qualifying position is 7th.
Yeah, not good for June. So many races where he's been qualifying well outside the top 10 as we wait for the final flurry of activity. Most drivers in the pits at the moment. I'm trying to find someone out there who is on one, and I think Neo is about to start one. So can he help his teammate out here, who is in the midst of a championship battle? Neo round the final corner. Can he become that rear gunner, or the wingman, as Bottas was infamously called once upon a time? As Neo goes through that first corner and begins the climb up the hill. And this is turn 2, the one I was talking about. This slight kink here before you climb uphill. There, it's there, turn 2. And into turn 3, the braking zone. And you can brake a lot later in here because of the incline on the hill, can't you?
Yes, but it's still, I mean, how often do you see drivers just overshooting that on lap 1 on cold tyres? I mean, I won't be surprised if we see a bit of carbon fibre flying across that curb with a concertina effect on lap 1.
Yeah, we sure will. And now through turn 4 goes Neo, and then the sweeping right of turn 5, and then into that blind turn 6 I was talking about. Again, easy to run wide through there if you get it all wrong. And it follows you all the way through turn 7 and 8. If you have the mistake in 6, you actually find yourself very often in the gravel trap on the exit of turn 7. But here comes Neo then with the final couple of corners in his sight. The McLaren driver with his teammate on the front row. Neo up towards the line. What can he do? Is he going to be better than 7th? Yes, he does. And there you go, onto the front row alongside VSR Blizzard, his teammate. And if you need a rear gunner, he's doing a very, very, very good job, isn't he?
Yeah, fantastic lad from Neo there. He really did well to take as much speed as he possibly could into the final corner, and I think he gained a few tenths on Poe and Francis because of that. Unfortunately for him though, he's not going to have enough time to get back to the pits and have another run, so even though he's in 2nd at the moment, because of the track evolution, which famously this track on these games goes very quick late on in the session, he may end up somewhere, outside the top 5.
Yeah, he could. You just don't know what's going to happen, and I mean, it's so tight. I mean, 210s covering the top 7 cars. It's quite incredible. So I'm now watching Nowek. I'm going to go to Gran after this one because these guys are on laps at the moment. The first guy near the sharp end of the action on laps. Nowek currently PA. I'm sure he finished 2nd last time out with a good effort in France. And now Nowek comes across the line and he improves to P5. So a slight improvement there by Nowek. He moves up to P5, and now that's the top 8 cars covered by 0.2 of a second. As I now try and pick up Gonanen. Let's see where he is then. Here he is, the Ferrari driver. Teammates with Lickelblocks, of course, who is yet to put a time on the board. Can he move himself in amongst those top guys? It's so close between them. Look at that, 0.2 between the top 8 as Nowek retires from the session. It will be 5th at best for him. I don't imagine he'll be there come the end of the session as Gonanen in the Ferrari throws it through the final corner of turn 10. Where can Gonanen put it? He's currently P8 on the leaderboard. Gonanen for the line, and he goes on to the front row, half a tenth behind VSR Blizzard, but can he stay there? Blizzard, is he about to start one? I think so. Yes, he's about to start one. So let's try and find someone.
Here comes Lickel.
Yeah, Lickel. Let's look for him then. And he slowed right down before the line.
Yeah, I think he invalidated on the final corner. He ran wide. I'll check and get back to you about that.
Yeah, let's see if we can find someone really far on this round this racetrack. Zoom is out there pushing. Josh, we'll go to him first, and then we'll go to June. Let's try and pick the last men across the line. Here comes VSR Josh, who has been promoted to ILR1. He started the season in ILR3. Such is the increase in speed from him over the course of the season. Great progress. He moves up to P5. Let's go and find June now in the final corner. P8. He needs to nail this lap. The checker flag is out, and he goes 3rd quickest. Not enough to displace Blizzard from pole. Can anyone do anything about him? What about Poe? Is he going to do it? Who else can do it? Let's see about Francis. He's currently P7. We'll go to Gonanen in a moment. Here, sorry, not Gonanen. VSR Blizzard. Francis in the final corner. Where is he?
It's the curb.
Oh, he's wide. Lap ruined, and it's P7 for Francis. Blizzard then coasting over the line. I think he knows he's safe unless his teammate maybe could do something about it. He's backed out. Poe is still going out there. He's a fraction down on his current best. It will need to be a mighty final sector to put Blizzard off pole position. It would be an almighty shock in ILR1 if Poe could put this on the front row. Here he goes, he's P5 at the moment. Where can the Renault car go? He stays P5, no improvement, and that, I think, is that. Is Lickel on another lap? No, he's not.
No.
It's me, maybe. Let's pick him up. He's
For some reason there's a pile of cars just out of turn 2 for some reason, so there's been a big incident there, probably AI controlled cars, I guess. Yeah, Lickelblocks, he invalidated every single lap he did today, so he's had a absolute, I mean, Gonanen, for me, style qualifying, absolutely sensational from Gonanen to put that Ferrari on the front row.
Yeah, absolutely incredible from him to put that on pole. Half a tenth, sort of got on the front row, half a tenth between Blizzard and Gonanen, and Zoom in P3. But look at that, the top 8, less than a 0.2 of a second covering them. 0.194, covering the top 8 cars. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that, and I think that proves that we're going to be in for a fantastic race when it comes along next, and it should be a cracker. Can Blizzard go and win again and really strengthen his grip on the title? But I mean, it's not going to be easy for him given how tight that is. Look at that, incredible.
Oh yes, I mean, it's such a short lap. I mean, you know, if these guys just put in a good lap, it's just going to be the slightest little differences that split up the grid, and it's exactly been like that.
Yeah, well, there it is. VSR Blizzard on pole by half a tenth to Gran in second. Zoom 700ths away in third. Neo was fourth. Good debut from him. Poe is fifth quickest. Josh is sixth. Seventh Francis, eighth Nowek, all within 0.2 of a second. Then a little gap back to Cliffy in ninth. LMC Hamilton is 10th. It's me 11th. Leon is 12th, and Calic was 13th. We'll run through the rest of those guys when the race begins. Now, you suspect there could be some rain given how much people were using the Ultrasoft tyre. Let's see if your theory is correct. It could be an interesting one, and you were absolutely spot on. Look at that heavy rain. That looks like it could be full wets out there for the race, doesn't it?
Yes, well, you know, I like to sound clever, but to be fair, someone told me while you were getting ready to launch the stream, so it wasn't so clever. But yeah, this just makes it very interesting indeed. You know, wet conditions at Austria can be very tricky, especially some of these high curbs. I mean, that final curb is absolutely lethal in the wet. If you hit that at speed, you can fly straight off into the runoff area.
Well, it promises to be a cracking race then. It almost turns the form book upside down, doesn't it, after that qualifying session where everyone was so tight. Can anyone now find that extra few tenths of a second to really shine in these damp conditions? It promises to be a real exciting race. Can Blizzard from pole position pick up another victory? There's no doubt that will be his intention, to really strengthen the grip on the championship. And his biggest rival, of course, Zoom, third in the grid, so he is not by any means out of it here today either. So it should be a cracking race as the drivers pull off the grid. And what tyre have the majority gone for? It's actually intermediate, which actually surprised me a little. They're looking in the pit lane, it looked a lot worse than that, but I stand corrected, and it's going to be a wet start to this race. Did you hear at all, Mark, about the weather going on from the start, or is it to be a full wet race, or what did you hear?
Well, I had a quick look at the satellite, and it looks like it's going to be, you know, this sort of conditions for the majority of the race, if not all of it.
Well, there you go then. It's going to be a real challenge for the drivers in these damp conditions, and that should, you would think, give a little bit more of a field spread, given that the lap is going to be a bit longer now by these wet conditions. So let's see if anyone can find the extra few tens. Who's been practicing in those wet conditions, who has not? Blizzard on pole, of course. Garnen, Zoom in third, then Neo, Pole with a great fifth, following up from that third last weekend. Josh is sixth, Francis is seventh, Nowek is eighth. Cliffy, he is back-to-back wins earlier in the season. He starts from P9. LMC Hamilton is P10. It's me outside the top 10, P11. No advantage for those guys with fresh tyres given the change of weather conditions. Leon is P12. Calic Rest P13. CC Brain, disappointing day for him in P14. Matt is 15th. 16th for Frisky CJTTG. Lambo, who had such a good start to the season, now on a really bad run of form. P17th in the grid. It's not got any better for him. Bugatti from 18th, and Lickel Blocks again failing to show in qualifying with a strong performance, and he starts from P19. So we're all set for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Can Blizzard pick up yet another victory, or is he going to be stopped by the likes of Doom, his main rival? What about Cliffy? What can he do from P9? If he can win from the back in Monaco, I'm sure he can win from P9 at a track like Austria. Overtaking is highly likely around this circuit, although the damp conditions without the DRS might make it trickier. We'll have to wait and see. But here come the cars lining up on the grid. Can Blizzard maintain or extend his 31-point lead over Doom in the championship? He's got 4 wins to his name so far. He starts from pole today. Can he make it 5 wins in 9 races? We'll find out. It's pouring with rain here in the Styrian Mountains. It promises to be a cracking race. The 5 red lights are coming on, and when they go out, we'll be racing in Austria. On the run down to turn 1 then. Blizzard holding the lead. It's a good start from Garnen, but he tucks in behind the McLaren, thinks better of making a move. Meanwhile, in the background, there's a lot of bumping going on. I think the Toro Rossos were bumping together. CC Brain looked like he was hot in the brakes, and now Brain in the background is off and going for a spin. But as they climb the hill towards turn 3, it's still Blizzard in the lead. Neo going side by side with Doom and making the move stick. So that's a good move there for the McLaren team. Blizzard will be delighted to see his teammate helping him out. It's Blizzard leading, Gran in second, and Neo jumping ahead of the Blizzard Championship rival Jim up into P3. Mark.
Yeah, so Hamilton just got a stop-go penalty for an illegal manoeuvre. Mads Hebos and CZ Brain were caught up in an insert turn one. They've both got wing damage, so they'll be pitting straight away. But yeah, Neo making the best start of the top three, in my opinion, in terms of the launch, getting past Doom in the run-up down to turn 2.
Wow, incredible battle here for P7, P8 and 9. Cliffy versus Josh versus, who's that? LMC Hamilton and the Williams all fighting hard there. And Cliffy gets the better of Josh and moves up into P7. Now, under pressure is Josh from LMC Hamilton. Is there going to be a move here from the Williams driver? Doesn't look like it. Lambo is in a flying start, in fact. He's up to P11 already. So Nowek then was one of the cutters involved in the drama at the start. I'm going to try and get the position changes for you. Lambo's up 6 places, as is Nick Lickleblocks. What an incredible start Lambo has had to this Grand Prix. So he's up a place as Calic and Licko are doing battle. Calic sliding the rear end. This is for P12, 13 and 14. And Jim is now dropped behind Francis, unseen by us. We'll go to that in a moment as Calic takes P12. And now on the inside it dies Bugatti. Is he going to make it stick? The rubbing wheels side by side. Bugatti slides the rear end coming out of there. And now look at Lickleblocks right up behind him. He's up 5 places from the starting position. Is he going to go attacking on Bugatti and Calic? Look at the spray kicking up. Bugatti up the inside of Calic. The Finnish driver has to avoid that one. Licko now pulling alongside as these three battle over the minor places. Look at Calic sliding like crazy, and through goes Licko up ahead of Calic, and Calic dropping like a stone down to P14. Make that P15 perhaps as Frisky CJ comes steaming in, and this 4-car battle really heating up in the lower reaches of the order. So that's now Bugatti 12, Licko 13, Calic 14, and CJ in the wall. Big crash into a spin, and is he out of the Grand Prix? Well, he's out of any chance of points. The front wing flies off the car. He lit up the rears and went round into a spin at turn 9. So let's pick up some other action on the racetrack. Mark, it's been a cracking start in the midfield.
Yes, despite the wet conditions, it's still very close spreads of those who haven't had damage. We've had 5 cars in the pit lane already for wing changes, including Frisky, we just saw crash, of course, and Novak, CC Brain, it's me, and Matt Edwards being caught up on lap 1, of course. But yeah, June, in terms of the top 4, seems to be really struggling with these conditions so far. He's been overtaken by Neo on lap 1, Francis overtook him on the previous lap, and now he's under pressure behind from TGG Poe and Cliffy. Yeah,
oh, well, June not having a good start to his race, and just to rub salt in the wounds, Blizzard's opened up a 1.8 second lead at the front of this Grand Prix over Gran and N, but the battle at the moment, the main focus is probably behind June, really, isn't it? I'm not saying it's a train he's holding up, but everyone behind him is within 1 second back to Bugatti in P12, so you would think that there's a battle going on there. As Gran and N, as he lost the position to Neo, has Gran and N been off the road somewhere? Perhaps he has.
I think he has.
Because Neo's up into second place. Did you see it, Mark?
I didn't see it, but it looked like to me he was rejoining the track for some reason. I would say possibly he went wide between 6 and 7. That's quite common in wet conditions, and then he lost the place to Neo. So at the moment, it's a McLaren 1-2, as if they don't have enough good results this season.
Yeah, well, McLaren, they know how to replace their drivers, as in fact Poe's under a real bit of pressure here further down between him and Cliffy. We've got a yellow in sector 2. I'm not too sure why. Is Cliffy going to make that move? He's going to go diving down the outside, and is he going to be able to hold that on the exit? It's going to be closed. Oh, look at Cliffy, rear end sliding everywhere. He actually uses Poe to stabilise his drift incredibly, and they now run down the hill. Is there going to be another move from Cliffy? He tries to go round the outside of Poe. He'll try and cut back on the exit onto the inside for turn 5, but he can't do that, and Poe clings on for now, and Poe as well now suffering a little bit and under a bit of pressure from a few cars behind as well.
Yeah, they're struggling to keep. It seems like some of these guys are struggling with front grip. And since Frisky has called it a day, but yeah, looks like Gernand is already falling back significantly even to McLaren, and Francis looks really on the pace in these conditions. Yeah, Francis flying, getting onto the back of Gernand, and that'll be one to watch in a few moments as we continue to watch this incredible duel in the midfield. Poe versus Cliffy versus Josh versus everyone, basically all queuing up behind. There's about 5 cars in that train. Cliffy, Josh, Hamilton, Leon, Lambo, all battling in there as Frisky CJ, as you mentioned, the first retirement from this afternoon's race, as we watch them climb up the hill on lap 5 out of 36 in these intermediate conditions. Everyone on the intermediate tyre at the moment.
And as you mentioned, Nowek, CC Brain, It's Me and Matt have all been on the pits for wing damage of some sort after an opening lap calamity somewhere along the road, as Josh now is looking really close to the back of Cliffy, but doesn't look like making a move. And are we starting to see the field calm down a little bit and realise that without the DRS it can be tricky to make a move?
Yes, they're going to have to bide their time, try and force the other opponent into a mistake. You know, we've seen a few mistakes already, unforced or otherwise. But yeah, it's just looking really good from McLaren at the moment. So Gran, then he made that mistake, which cost him second place. He's got to calm down a little bit, and he has steadied the gap to Francis somewhat.
Yep, he sure has, as continues to keep an eye on Josh with Cliffy battling, as Hamilton is getting right onto his tail now. And is there going to be a move here from the man in P9, the Northern Irishman, closing onto the back of Josh as they go across the start-finish line? Doesn't look like on this occasion there will be a move as they go running up the hill towards turn 1. As you mentioned, the gap stabilising up front, but Blizzard really is racing away. You see it really starting to show his pace and his form, and really beginning to look like the main man in this championship fight, as Hamilton has a little look at the back of Josh but thinks better of a move up the hill into turn 3. But he's got a great exit, and Josh rear end cut of the car was sliding quite a bit. And is he now going to think about making a move down the hill towards turn 4? You need to be brave. Gone in now, only 3/10 behind Neo. We'll go to that in a moment as Hamilton tries but fails to make a move. So let's have a look at Gone in on the back of that McLaren. And is Neo really struggling now? 4 seconds behind Blizzard. He's dropping back massively at the moment.
Yeah, either that or he's trying to be a rear gunner on purpose, sacrifice his own race, Bottas style. Oh, going on again, slides out of 7, but saves it this time, so that spoils his charge. And here comes Francis.
Yeah, Francis diving up the inside, a little bit of contact between them, going in off the road. He'll have to rejoin safely and gets a 3-second time penalty. It looks a bit harsh, to be honest, given what happened. And now Zoom is going to be on him. Gone in, really struggling to keep the rear end in a straight line. And here comes Zoom, side by side on the run up to turn 1. Gone in late on the brakes, holds firm and keeps P4 for now, but Zoom looks tucked right up behind him. And as we watch from the helicopter cam, there might be a chance for a move here from the Alfa Romeo Sauber driver. He's not had a good race so far compared to his championship rival Blizzard, who's running away at the front. Zoom had a little look, couldn't do it. He'll try and cut back on the exit as he now run towards turn 4. If you can't make a move into turn 2, or turn 3 I should say, you do get a second bite of the cherry on this racetrack. So what can Zoom do? He's now attacking, but still remains behind Gone in, and the Finnish driver holds on for the moment as CC Brain becomes the second retirement of this Grand Prix as they run down the hill through the middle sector through turn 6. And is Zoom a little bit wide? He is, and Poe's going to be on the inside now. Is he going to have a look up the inside into turn 7? It looks like it. Is Poe through and holding on the outside there is Zoom, and is he going to get the place back? I don't think so. And through is Poe up into P5, Zoom down to P6. And it's going from bad to worse for one of the championship contenders.
Yes, just when you think Zoom's starting to regain some composure and get some places, he just makes a small error in sector 2, and that allows TG Poe to get alongside him and well take the place there.
Yep, through he goes, and can Zoom now stem the charge of Cliffy behind? He's 6/10 behind him. Behind that, a 4/10 gap between Cliffy and Josh. Leon as well, around 3/10 behind LMC Hamilton, so plenty of action out there worth keeping an eye on. Let's see if we can pick up Leon. He looks like he's really close to making a move further down the field. And he's right up behind the back of LMC Hamilton. He's tucked right up in the spray. You can barely see a thing in these damp conditions apart from that red light in front of you. It must be a lot worse in real life. Obviously in the game they don't make it just as bad, but Leon at the moment not able to find a way through as this midfield from around Poe downwards to around Lambo or Leon. It could be anybody's that's fighting for the just outside the podium places today, because it's such a tight battle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's well, 4th all the way down to liquor blocks. Very close indeed, and one mistake from one of these guys and they're going to be tumbling outside the top 10.
Yep, they sure will, as Leon gets ever closer, probably still the closest battle on track. And is he now going to have a look at LMC Hamilton down towards turn 1? He'll probably try and set a move up. He can just get the good exit he needs. Hamilton was a little bit deep there, Josh even deeper in front of that, and this is Leon's chance to get alongside LMC Hamilton to try and make P10, P9 and double a points tally you would get from this race, from 1 point to 2 points. He goes down the outside of Hamilton, locking up the intermediate tyres. He's going to get hung out to dry there. He goes onto the curb, but he's still alongside here is Leon, so he'll continue the battle, sweeping down the hill towards turn 4. Can he hold it round the outside? You can make a move on the outside here. You need to brave it round the outside, but he can't do that. Hamilton was so much later on the brake pedal, but sacrificing his exit by doing that, and Leon ain't giving it up. He's going to try and go sweeping round the outside into turn 6 of all places. Can he do it? Can he do it? Not quite. He's out on the curb, out on the rumble strip, and there's nothing he can do, and the frustration continues to mount because Hamilton is clearly holding him up at the moment as they now run through the exit of turn 8 down towards turn 9 and 10. Leon glued to the back of that Williams, isn't he?
Yeah, it really was. It was a really good battle. They gave each other just enough space without it being too dangerous. But yeah, Leon, going around the outside in turn 6 in the dry is hard enough, let alone in the wet. So I don't think that move realistically was ever on.
Yep, never was, as Leon tries again. Look at Hamilton this time. Another poor exit of the through turn 1, and this time Leon is surely going to have the inside line to his advantage. He was forced to the outside last time. Surely he'll be able to outbrake the Williams this time and complete the move. He breaks that little bit later. Oh, the rubbing wheels, and still LMC Hamilton braking later and holds on. He's got a lot of confidence in that Williams on the brake pedal, doesn't he? And he clings on still, but Leon this time has another great run down the hill towards turn 4, and he's going to send it up the inside, locking up the front tyres. Hamilton's there, the banging wheels, they're trading paint now, and Hamilton finally loses the position, and through goes Leon up into P9. Patience is key, and it finally pays off for CSR Leon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it had to weigh an extra lap, but that's the best place to do it. Turn 3 or turn 4, they're the two best opportunities on this track apart from the home straight. More realistic, and he got the move done, but fair racing from both.
Yep, fair racing from both indeed, and Leon is now through into that P9. Let's see if we can find any other battles. It looks like this is probably the best one out there on track at the moment. What's happening behind that? Hamilton looks like he's under even more pressure here, and that final point is going to go here. Lambo on the inside into turn 1. Is he through? Yes, he is. Lambo up into P10, but look at Lickle blocks in the background here. He's got a front row seat, and Lickle, he likes making a move if he gets any opportunity. He's picking up a double toll from the two cars. Hamilton coming back at Lambo on the inside here and into turn 3. He lets him know he's there. Lambo leaves the space and through he goes. Lickle with a front row seat eating popcorn as he watches on. Hamilton versus Lambo, a drag race down towards turn 4. Hamilton on the inside, Lambo on the outside. We know Hamilton likes to brake late. He does that again, squeezes Lambo towards the edge of the racetrack. Now that allows Lickle to get involved. Lickle pulling alongside TTG Lambo as they run towards turn 6. Can he do anything about it? No, he can't, and he remains stuck in P12. Doesn't he, Mark? It's a cracking battle, this.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, Hamilton's definitely got a bit more straight line speed, which suggests less downforce on the front, and we just saw proof of that as he just understeered nearly off the track.
Yeah,
here comes Lambo again. Yeah,
Lambo trying up the inside into turn 9. Not a realistic place to make a move as the three of them debate the final points paying position. Poe now only 4/10 behind, gone 9 further up the road. We'll go to that if it gets any closer, but this is really a fantastic battle. Hamilton weathering the storm at the moment as Lambo and Lickle blocks are busy watching one another. Here comes Lickle again onto the back of TTG Lambo. The Haas versus the Ferrari up the hill. This is for P11 and 12 for goodness sake, and Goranen and Poe are debating P4, so let's, pardon me, go and have a look at that. Well, don't know why it changed position because there's still half a second between them, so I'm going to go back to that battle once again, and Lambo still clinging on with Lickle right behind him at the moment. Mark, cracking racing.
It is. Well, Poe had a look on the outside into turn 3, but you know, Gernan and Francis actually made slight contact ahead, no damage, but Poe is really trying to force Gernan into a mistake, and well, the two McLarens are just disappearing off into the distance. It's like it's 1998 all over again. Yeah,
it sure is. McLaren's disappearing, as you say, into the distance. VSR Francis in third, but he's under pressure from Goranen at the moment as we keep an eye on this titanic scrap between Hamilton, Lambo and Lickle for the final points paying position. If that gets any closer up ahead, we'll go back to it, but this is still the one to watch. And in fact, Leon now looks like he wants to make a move on Josh for P8 and P9, so the battles in the lower reaches and just outside the top 10 have really kept this race alive, to be honest, as Lickle blocks tries again on Lambo. Can he do it this time as they run up the hill through turn 2 and into turn 3? And as you say, Hamilton has got so much straight line speed, it's going to be really difficult for anyone to make a move, and there's no move being made here by Lickle. So let's have a little look and see if Leon can make a move stick. Just up the road from that in the battle for P9 and P10. Is he close enough? I don't think so. So let's go back once more to the battle for P10, 11 and 12, and still nothing changing. As Gone and N is really close to Francis now, isn't he?
Yeah, it's so close. Just to mention, Blizzard just had a horrible lap. Just went 2.5 seconds slower than his previous lap. On lap 12, he did a 1:14.992 on lap 11. He did a 1:17 on lap 12. So he must have made a mistake somewhere. His gap has been cut in half to his teammate Neo.
So it has. So maybe that was a yellow flag in sector 3 popping up at one point. That might have been why. Blizzard maybe having a half slide somewhere on the racetrack of some sort, maybe. Not too sure, but France is really struggling here, isn't he? He's got 3-4 cars lined up behind him here in the battle for the final podium slot. Yeah,
going and looking really good out of turn 1. Might be able to put it to Lambo overtook Hamilton, but Hamilton's coming back at him.
Yeah, we'll go to that in a moment. As Poe now all of a sudden onto the back of Gone and N. Look at the straight line speed Poe's got. He's going up the inside into turn 3 as the Renault, and he's going to just muscle his way alongside him through ahead of Gone and N. Francis was so out of shape there. I thought Gone and N was going to be on him, but no. Poe comes steaming in, robs him up the position, and now June fancies a look down the outside of Gone and N. Gone and N so late on the brakes, he might even collect Poe. Somehow he doesn't, and still he holds on to P5, but June is right there trying to reignite his race, because so far for a championship challenger, I'm not going to say mediocre, but it's been a pretty much over par performance, hasn't it? Below par.
Oh, Blizzard picks up a penalty.
Oh, Blizzard now picking up a penalty. That puts Neo in prime position to snatch the win away from him, for goodness sake. So will there be a little bit of team orders there at McLaren to tell him to ease off? And is Gone and N aiming for the pits here? I think he is. Gone and N coming in for a fresh set of inters, I would think.
Oh, it appears he's picked up damage. He's missing end plates on the right hand side. Yeah, it's a wing change for the Ferrari driver. Oh, that is terrible news.
Maybe he did clip the back of Poe then as he was braking late into turn 4. I'm not sure. It didn't look like he did, so I'm not sure if that is the case. But Gone and N pits and comes back out. It won't affect him too much because he would have had to have made a pit stop for fresh inters anyway.
Something just happened. Yeah, what happened to Hamilton? I think it was coming out turn 1. Yeah, he's off.
Yep, there he is. We'll see it from onboard Gone and N. There you go. Hamilton on the left-hand side of the track. So he's probably been in close proximity with Lambo and Lickle at some place in the track. As actually Gone and N's been fighting here with Nowek, who of course pitted a lot earlier for front wing damage. And Gone and N's going to be behind Nowek, who's on 13 lap older tyres. They're going to go side by side. And is there going to be a move here? Nowek's ahead, and Gone and N's car sliding all over the place. As we can now move up to Leon, who's battling with Josh. Action everywhere you look at the moment.
Yeah, so we're going there now pitting. That frees up June. But before June can even think about getting after Poe, he's now closing onto Francis. Cliffy is now starting to come into the picture a bit.
Yeah, cracking battle between the four of them. June, Cliffy, Josh and Leon. So they're all coming at June really quickly. And June, an unspectacular afternoon for the championship contender. Not enjoying the damp conditions, and was he running wide then into turn 1? I think he might have been. And is that going to allow Cliffy to have a run on him up the hill? It's a long way back for Cliffy. Will he have a look? Meanwhile, in front of that, Poe was having a look at Francis, but Cliffy not close enough as they reach the brake pedal for turn 3. So battles for 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th. A healthy battle everywhere on the racetrack at the moment. But at the moment, no move being made. What about Leon? Is he close enough to Josh in the battle for 7th and 8th? Doesn't look like it. But this is definitely the best battle on track. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th between June, Cliffy, Josh and Leon. It's lap 16 out of 36, 20 laps to go. We've had 15 laps in these intermediate conditions, unchanged weather conditions. Will it adjust at all in this race? The fact that they're still out there on these intermediate tyres trying to do half the race suggests to me that we're going to be under these conditions for the foreseeable future. And as I say that, June is actually making a call for the pits, and in comes June then to free up Cliffy, Josh and Leon. What do you think of that? An undercut attempt?
Well, yes, perhaps. We're at around half distance, so I think this looks like simple one-stops for everybody unless you get damaged. Novak's pitted again, so he needs a safety car desperately. But Leon now getting a really good run on Josh.
Yeah, right up behind him. Look at it, basically pushing Josh as we ride on board with him up the hill. We can now go to the outboard camera from the helicopter shot. Is Leon going to be able to dive right round the outside? I tell you what, that is incredible. Look at the traction. Look at the grip Leon's got there. And he sweeps past Josh. The Force India wasn't even there. That's incredible how easy that was. And he's maybe just keeping the life in his tyres a lot better than the Force India, Mark. That was incredible.
Yes, well, Josh getting no traction. He's also running negative fuel at the moment as well. So all of those factors playing into that. But Leon executing the move to perfection.
Yeah, and up into P5 goes Leon. And he's having a fine race this afternoon. He's doing a very good job keeping himself out of trouble, going for moves when they're available. And he's up 7 places from the starting position. Lambo and Bugatti are both up 10 as well. So as Blizzard and Poe have come into the pits, and the Blizzard on his way into the pit lane now, and into his box he goes. So Blizzard onto a fresh set of intermediate tyres, and away he goes. Where will he rejoin? So many cars are coming in. Poe, Leon, Josh. So where's Leon and Josh going to be? They were close together on the racetrack. Poe leaves his box. Let's see if we can pick up Leon in relation to Josh. Is he going to come out still ahead of the Force India? I think so. So and he's actually ahead of Cliffy as well there, is Leon. Is that correct? Is that a jump of position? I think it is it not? Yeah.
Who is, sorry?
Leon ahead of Cliffy. That's a jump, isn't it? In the pits.
Yes it is.
So good work there from the Toro Rosso team to make that move stick. As Lambo,
Lico and Lambo.
Yeah, continuing.
How close?
Oh, and Lambo now trying that move around the outside that we've seen a few moments ago, and he cannot make it work. And Lico flings on, but yeah, great action going on further down the field between those two. Have been stuck to each other like glue all afternoon. Look at the straight line speed Lambo's got here. He's going to try and go round the outside into turn 4. Can he pick up the traction on the exit? No. Lico comes across, covers the line, and makes things extremely tough for Lambo as Neo now comes into the pits. So Neo makes his stop from the inters, and by the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be half the race on a set of inters, half the race on another set of inters, and its conditions don't look like abating at all.
No, Neo having a superb, I think this is his first race in ILR1,
Yeah.
and if he can get a podium, P2, that would be incredible. So Bugatti pits, and I believe everyone's pitted at least once now with Bugatti coming in. Francis in P3, so Poe was unable to use the pit stops to get ahead of Francis, so now he's got to chase after him again.
Yeah, of course he will chase after him. Blizzard now 4.9 ahead of Neo. We've got yellow in sector 1. Why is that? That's because we've got a Force India
Force
filling
India.
over. It's Josh, I think. Now, Josh was in the battle earlier on. Why has he all of a sudden come to a halt and gone really slowly?
Well, I think he had wing damage at some point, because he came into the pits and he had a very long pit stop, but now he's ended up right at the back of the field, and I think he might be about to call it a day. But what a nightmare race it's been for Force India.
Yep, 15th and 16th and last of the runners out there on track, so not going at all well there. Let's see if we can pick up Lambo and Lico, who have been knocking lumps out of each other on the opening 19 laps of the Grand Prix. They've been stuck to each other like glue. It's been a good battle to watch, this one, as Blizzard opens out the gap to 4.8 over Neo. Francis a further 4 seconds back from Neo, and then Poe right on his tail. And is Poe looking at back-to-back podiums here perhaps, as Cliffy picks up a 3-second time penalty? That's not going to do him much good given how tightly compact those cars are in and around Cliffy.
Well, I'm just receiving news that Josh actually got stuck in the pits, so that's why he's ended up all the way at the back of the field. So yet again another silly glitch from the game which causes the driver to get stuck in the pits, and I think It's Me has been stuck in the pit lane for some time as well. So absolute nightmare situation there for Force India.
Yeah, just like Red Bull last week, where both their drivers were wiped out of the Grand Prix, one of them in the lead of the actual race as well, and then a real shame to see their races ruined. But that's what happens sometimes, and unfortunately it's led to Josh's retirement, who was on for a solid points haul, I would have thought, but at the moment not working out for him at all. Let's see if we can pick up Leon, who's continuing his fine afternoon, and now getting onto the back of championship contender Zoom, and looking like making a move pretty soon, Mark.
I think so. And Poe has clawed what was a 2-second gap to Francis under the pit stops down to under a second. No DRS, of course. I don't think Neo is going to have the pace to get back up to his teammate. He's going to be worrying about just finishing the race really. He's got a nice healthy advantage to Francis in P3. So, you know, even if he doesn't end up winning the race, P2 would still be a great result for him. Poe trying to make it 2 third positions in a row.
Yep, with a great effort if he could, as Leon continues to pressurise Hume in the battle for P5 and P6. And to be fair, these guys aren't actually too far off the back of Francis and Poe. And the way Leon's going at the moment, the pace he's showing, if he can dispatch Hume quite quickly, you can't rule him out of a podium shout, can you?
No, Leon's had a superb race. You know, he's gained 6 places. Liquid blocks as well. He's gained 11 places from the back of the field to be in P8 at the moment. It's got Lambo to contend with.
Yeah, Lambo to contend with, as it has been all race long. Lickle and Lambo battling. Gone and end now on the fringes of the points in P10. Bugatti P11, Calic down in 12th. Nowick, Matt, it's me. They were all the guys I think that were in the pits very early on in this Grand Prix, so that explains their struggles this afternoon. As Leon continues to pressure it, Blizzard just keeps pumping in fastest lap after fastest lap, and at the moment it looks like even with that 3-second time penalty he has to his name, he's going to be on course to wrap up yet another victory. 5 wins in 9 races, so let's see how it goes as we watch Leon attack Hume up the hill towards turns 2 and 3. Is there going to be a move? As Poe now is only 2 tenths behind, and he's having a look up the inside of Francis in the battle for 3rd and 4th, and the more that battle heats up, the more Leon will start licking his lips. But until he gets past Hume, he can't even focus on them. 1 car at a time is what Leon needs to think about on lap 22 out of 36. Podo looking really racy, and Leon looking really racy. Both drivers putting in fine performances recently, and starting to come of age with strong results. I mean, Leon has been 4th, 7th and 6th in the last 4 races. One, of course, DNF, but showing some fine pace in that Toro Rosso car. So both these drivers starting to show what they're capable of as the season develops, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Poe has been outstanding again today in the race. Leon as well. June would probably have hoped it would be a dry race. We've seen this a few times now from June. When it rains, doesn't quite have the same performance, so he'll be desperate for some dry conditions at Silverstone to try and take the fight back to Blizzard, who, as it stands, is going to be, well over 45 points ahead in the championship.
Yep, it's looking good for Blizzard at the moment. Odds will be shortening all the while as Poe attacks here. He's going to go down the outside. Is that going to be a position he can make a move on the cutback? Oh, look at that. Great driving from Poe. He spotted the cutback being there. Francis moves across to try and squeeze him out, but he can't do much more than that because Poe's pulling alongside now. Here comes the Renault driver bidding to make it 2 podiums in a row, and Poe, it looks like he's done it. He's through, and the Renault is sliding his way past up into P3. What a performance once again from TTG Poe. P3, and now Francis is going to have to start looking in his mirrors because Hume and Leon are on his case, and Leon is looking all the more racy, desperate to find a way ahead of Hume.
Well, that was brilliant. I watched the whole of that move develop from the final corner of the previous lap all the way down to turn 4, and he was just trying to force Francis to go deeper and deeper into these corners, and finally he got that switch back and then down the inside there at turn 4. Great stuff from Poe.
It sure was absolutely magnificent as Leon now, we watch on board attacking Hume. Can he finally make the move? Hume looks a little bit out of shape, and this is the chance Leon's been waiting for. Hume is surely going to cover that inside and make it difficult for him. He does cover the inside. There was still space there for Leon if he fancied it, but he chooses the outside. Is he going to try and do exactly what Poe did and cut back on the exit and use the inside line for turn 4? It doesn't look like he's got the momentum though, and Hume still holds on to P5 mark. And what did Leon do differently from what Poe did?
Well, simply put, Hume just got a fantastic traction out of turn 3, and you know, Leon was getting a bit of wheel spin on the rear tyres, wasn't able to get the power down as he did on that move we saw earlier on in the race, but you know, he's still looking like he's got a better setup car than Hume at the moment. And Francis gets some really bad oversteer out turn 7, and I think that battle for 4th is going to become a 3-way fight right now. Yeah, it sure is. Francis really struggling.
3-second time penalty is mounting up now for the Scotsman, really starting to struggle out there. Cliffy 2.5 seconds off the tail of this. I don't think he has much chance of getting involved. As we watch Hume now Is he all of a sudden going to start threatening in this Grand Prix? He's been on the back foot for the majority of the race, hasn't he? Has he finally found his feet and trying to use his power of recovery? Zoom then, right up behind the back of Francis. They reach the summit of the hill, the highest point of the racetrack. 60 metres is the difference in height from the highest point to the lowest point in this racetrack. The start-finish straight being the lowest point, and the highest point up there at turn 3. But look at Zoom, he's right up behind Francis now, and he's going to try and go down the outside. Francis comes across, makes it difficult for Zoom. And now on the exit, Zoom's got so much more traction, so much more grip. As I say that, he lights up the rear tyres, goes for a little moment across the grass, and leaves Leon right behind him. So Leon then, now in the front. Zoom one moment, and now Leon, he has to look at his mirrors, does Zoom, because Leon's right there after a small mistake on the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, well, Leon's just got to be patient. I just get the sense these two guys are going to make more mistakes like that. Leon looks the quickest of these three at the moment.
Yeah, he sure does. Poe breaking away, 1.3 ahead. I think that shows that Leon's hopes of a podium are slowly diminishing due to the lack of progress he is making. Here comes the Toro Rosso once again, attacking Zoom down into turn 1. Surely this time he's got a good run. Zoom the rear end sliding. This is a good run. And if he can get on the inside, he will surely send one up the inside. Leon, he is a man of calculated risk. He doesn't go steaming up the inside and deal with it when he gets there. Oh, he's going for it now though. Lets Zoom know he's there. Zoom needs to open the door slightly. But you have to think he might have been better off just waiting for turn 4 on that occasion, because he's dropped off the tail of Zoom this time round, hasn't he?
Yes. And what's making it difficult for him is that Zoom keeps getting the toe of Francis ahead on these straight sections on the opening part of the lap. So it's making it very difficult for him to put Zoom under critical pressure to get the move done.
Yep, of course. And Francis doesn't seem like he's quick enough to just disappear away, does he? From the car in front, for the car behind of Zoom, so that makes it all the more annoying for Leon. Leon is quite literally going to have to, at some point in this race, in the next 9 or so laps, just go for it. Just go for broke, because we've got a yellow in sector 1. Now, let's try and find out what that is. Not sure. I think it might have been one of the guys further down the back.
I think Kalik and Novak had a bit of contact.
And Leon is ahead of Zoom now. I just missed it. Down to turn 1. I don't know if Zoom made a mistake, as Poe picks up a 3-second time penalty. So what does that do for the battle for the podium, Mark? Have you got the situation on penalties between those guys?
I will have a quick look, and when we mention it, well, Poe has 3 seconds. Francis does as well. Let's see. What about Leon and Zoom? Just for a second. Although, Zoom's actually been passed.
Yep. Yeah, Leon's through. Yeah, Leon made the move up into turn 1. I didn't see it, but I did notice he was through. So Leon P5. So can he now attack Francis and make it P4? But what's the situation for Leon and Zoom in penalties then?
Well, it's very close indeed. But as it stands, Leon can find a little bit more speed. He can be on the podium, but it's very tight indeed. He has no penalties. The two drivers in front of him have 1 3-second penalty each. And
what's Zoom's situation? Is he going to be gaining any places from this?
No, he's got a 3-second penalty as well.
Not good for Zoom then. P6 at the moment. He's going to concede another handful, or a hatful, not even a handful, more than a handful of points to Blizzard in the championship. Blizzard picking up 25 here. Zoom picking up just 8. So that will be another, what's that, 18 points. Sorry, 16 points. Oh, no. Oh, my maths is terrible. It's 17 points. Sorry, folks. That Blizzard will gain on Zoom, which would make the gap between the two as Gran retires from the Grand Prix. What would that make it? Around 40 odd points roughly, so not good at all. 48 points, 49 points I would think, between them, so not looking good at all for Zoom at the moment. And they're just at the moment, you have to say, in the championship situation, all of Blizzard's rivals just appear to be falling around him, and Blizzard's the only man with any sort of consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gunn crashed on the start-finish straight, and I was just seeing on board Novak, see where it was, and then Caddick just slammed hard into the start-finish straight wall, so he's got wing damage. But look at this, Bugatti, who hasn't scored a single point this season from the opening 8 races, is on course for his first point of the season.
Oh, shock horror. I saw that there was a poll out earlier in the week about who would you like to see pick up a point first, or who do you think would pick up a point first, and it was taking one person from ILR1, ILR2 and ILR3 and ILR4, I think. And Bugatti didn't get many votes, but he's proving his critics wrong. He's currently P10 and is comfortably P10 as well. 7 laps to go. Can he get that first point of the season? It looks like he will at the moment, doesn't it? But as Lambo attacks Lickel, and these two have been stuck to each other all race long. Is Lambo ever going to get that move done?
Well, he's got to try and get past him, because he still may be able to gain a place or two, but Cliffy is now beginning to close the gap to Doom ahead.
Yep, Cliffy looks like he's going to darken the clouds even more for Zoom. It's been a dark day for him. Started third, down to sixth, and it doesn't really look like it's going to get better for him. If anything, worse, as Cliffy is next on the radar to go attacking on the struggling Zoom, who in the wet conditions just hasn't looked on it at all, has he?
No, he hasn't looked on it compared to some of the performances we've seen this season, you know, because apart from Blizzard, he's had the most podiums this season. He's had 5 from 8 races. But yeah, I mean, it's a disastrous race at France in similar mixed conditions, and here it's a full wet race. And yeah, just hasn't been able to find that ultimate pace compared to Blizzard. But then again, who else has in ILR1 so far in recent times?
Certainly not on a consistent basis, that's for sure. As Lambo continues to try and get close to Lickel, everyone at the moment except Leon over a second, and Lickelblocks as well with Cliffy. So Lickelblocks starting to come back to Cliffy now. So Zoom might be under even more pressure soon, because behind Cliffy is a duo of cars on Lickel and Lambo that are interested in improving their position in this race. But let's go to Leon, who is absolutely flying out there. Remember, folks, you can vote for your driver of the day today. I mean, who would you go for, Mark, at the moment? I would really struggle between Poe, Leon, Neo in his first appearance here, Blizzard as well. It's hard, isn't it?
Well, I mean, personally, for me, it has to be Neo, surely. I mean, it's his first appearance here, and he's going to be in P2 straight away.
Okay, well, Neo for you, as Leon makes his way past Francis then, and up into P4, strengthening his hopes of earning that driver of the day award. 8 places he's gained in this Grand Prix. Lickelblock's up 11, but again, you have to consider that there's 6 retirements of the 19 runners, so that kind of skews that a little bit. But Leon has been flying. Poe as well, done a great job. Everyone watching, feel free to let us know who your driver of the day is. It the debutant Neo? Is it Blizzard? Is it Poe? Is it Leon? All those guys all having a fine afternoon so far. But we're always interested to hear what you think. I mean, I'm struggling here. I mean, I want to give it to Neo, but it's like one of those ones where you don't know his pace going into it, so you don't really know what to judge him off. I mean, of course, it is his debut. To be so competitive in his debut, I mean, arguably deserves a mention for driver of the day, so he's certainly one to throw in. But I like to try and, you know, gauge over what I've seen up to this point of the season. And the biggest surprise, and for me, Poe and Leon have shone above what they've done up to this point. So for me, it'd be one of those two I'd give it to. But Neo, no doubt, what a debut it's been from him as well. Very impressive by him. But let's have a look at Lickelblocks as now that Leon has cleared Francis. Is he eyeing up a move on Cliffy? Because that could be a possibility. He's only half a second behind the Mercedes driver. So in the remaining laps, is there going to be a move there, do you think, Mark?
Yes, I think there's a possibility. They both have the same amount of penalties. Lambo behind does not, so he might gain a position or two at the end. Francis has picked up another 3-second penalty, so he's now got 6 seconds of penalty, so June may yet salvage at least a 5th place.
Yep, he might. He will have to be wary though. Well, in fact, to say that, he's pulled away from Cliffy. I presume Cliffy made a mistake somewhere on the racetrack to have dropped off so much and into the clutches of Lickel. Not working at all for Cliffy in recent moments. And Zoom should be at least safe in 6th, if not get 5th, get going on the penalty count. So we'll keep an eye on that one and how that develops, as Lickel in the Ferrari, a man who's had a bit of a struggle, a season that you could argue has been one of what could have been or what might have been up until this point so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, so I have to agree with you on that. He has shown that sort of speed that you require at this level, but it just hasn't gone for him at times. You know, he's been in good positions, and then for all intents and purposes, it's just gone completely wrong for him.
Yep, it's not been the greatest opening 9 races for Lickel. Points here today, but not the kind of points he'd have been looking to take from this race at all. Again, qualifying poorly makes his job a lot tougher when you consider someone of the pace of Lickelblocks' and the talent that he has, he shouldn't be in the championship with only 25 points on the board after 9 races. Not at all what he'd have been hoping for. 2 4th places and a 10th. He has been on a streak of 3 successive points finishes, and that is the only points he's scored this season. So this would be a 4th successive points finish after a streak of DNFs and non-scores to open up the first 5 races of the season. So it looks like it will be 8th at least for Lickle, unless he can find a way through on Cliffy and make it P7. I'm not sure where the penalty count is but between these guys, but for the lower places it's not as significant, I suppose, as Hume now gets to within a second of Francis further up the road. So is there going to be late drama there perhaps as well? Certainly one to keep an eye on as Blizzard has started lap 34 out of 36 and looking good for a 4th win in 9 races, Mark.
Yes, I mean, he was threatened slightly at the start. He did make a mistake early on in the first stint, but it didn't hurt him because no one was near him. So, I mean, he had a 31-point lead already. The last 2 races, it's all gone absolutely marvellously for him.
Yep, no one able to lay a glove on Blizzard after that. Did not finish back in Canada. That really opened up the championship as we watched Lickle try and put a move on Cliffy, and that would please Blizzard even further, given that Cliffy's one of the closer guys in the championship to Blizzard. And here comes the Ferrari of Lickle Blocks pulling alongside on the run down towards turn 4, and I think Lickle should have the high ground here, but Cliffy's got some serious straight line speed. He's going to be late in the brakes, and he needs to be, and Lickle steaming up the inside. Look how close they are as they go through turn 5 now, and Lickle, brave as you like on the brakes, makes the move on Cliffy, but Cliffy coming back as he into turn 6. He tries and tries and tries, but he can't get through, and you've got to give Lickle credit there. That took some courage, some bravery to dive late on the brakes, and he made it work.
Yeah, he did. Yep, I think he had to go for it then. He may not get another opportunity, but Cliffy definitely has more straight line speed, so he may be able to come back at it. Yeah,
every possibility that this one isn't finished. So as the laps tick by, like the penultimate lap now, Blizzard is on, and then he will be on his final lap to strengthen his grip on the championship. We'll go to him in a moment, but for now we should stick with this battle between Lickle and Cliffy, and Cliffy gets a poor exit out of turn 1, and is that ship now finally sailed? As I say that, Hume now moving into position for a move on Francis perhaps as the laps tick by.
Yes, I think that Francis, I'd noticed, really struggled at the end of the first stint when the tyres were going off, and now we're right at the end of the second stint, of course, on these inters, and yeah, he's about to be attacked by Hume. This is probably one of the rare occasions we've seen Hume really looking superior to a car in front in the top 6.
Yeah, absolutely, I would totally agree with that. Hume been on the back foot for the majority of the afternoon in the damp conditions after a strong qualifying, but out of shape there as he went into turn 6. As Blizzard's about to start the final lap, we'll stick with this for the moment, see if Hume can make it work. It's lap 36 out of 36, and Blizzard just showing his superiority by pumping in a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Confidence clearly flowing through his veins, aren't they?
Yeah, imperious at the moment. Absolutely imperious stuff from Blizzard. I mean, I just can't see anyone stopping him at the moment.
Yep, I don't think so. Lap 36 out of 36. We'll go to Blizzard in a moment. We've got a yellow in sector 1. Why is that? Who's off the road? Hume. Oh, Hume. That is not what you want. 3-second time penalty, and that might make him prey to the cars behind, because it's a really tight group of cars, and Hume there is just throwing championship points out the window with mistakes like that, isn't he?
He certainly is. But France is still ahead of him. I think there could be still some chances of positions here. Lickle Blocks, I think he could end up in 5th at this rate. Yeah,
he could. We'll see how it goes, but it's time to go to our race leader. If we can pick him up, VSR Blizzard. He's coming towards the end of the race. He's only put 1 foot wrong, or 1 mistake in the race. 1 off-track moment where he lost a few seconds, but he was so far ahead of the rest, head and shoulders above his rivals, that it wasn't going to faze him. Here comes VSR Blizzard. It's 5 wins in 9 races and a mammoth lead in the championship. He wins the Austrian Grand Prix in style. A fantastic result for the McLaren driver. His teammate, Neo, comes home in second on his debut. What a perfect performance from him. And Leon gets the podium from pole at the end. What a performance, and across the line they come. France is 5th. In fact, this whole changing Lambo incredibly, who was at the back of that group of cars, has gone up into 5th place. Incredible for Blambo. Cliffy 6th, Francis 7th, Jim only 8th. At the
Bugatti
end.
has damage. Bugatti has damage. Will he still get the final point?
Oh, he's doing his best not to, but he's going to come home and finish P10. I think he might be out of fuel as well. He crosses the line. Has he got penalties? Is Novak going to steer?
Oh, he didn't get it. He didn't get it. Oh, no. Oh, no, I can't believe it. He went off on the final lap, got damaged, and he ran out of fuel. And I can't believe it.
And
how
loses.
unlucky can you be?
And loses the final point. And that might go down as one of the disaster classes of the season. I mean, it is December, it is time for the ILR Awards, so that might be a late entry from Bugatti. What a shame. But McLaren have bossed it here in Austria, particularly VSR Blizzard with his 5th win in the opening 9 races to open up a lead of over 50 points now, I would think, in the Drivers' Championship. He wins from Neo in 2nd, and an incredible charge to 3rd, a disciplined drive from Leon to pick up P3, and he, for me, is going to get driver of the day. That's my decision for me, but you're going for Neo, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm going for Neo, but I agree with your decision as well. I mean, Leon, Poe, Neo, very impressive drive. Lambo though, 17th to 5th in the end, just to go to show if you don't get penalties, you can get a great result. So in fact, he if there's a poll for it, I think he deserves a mention as well. I feel so sorry for Bugatti because until that final lap, he had driven a really solid, if unspectacular race to get into that position. And then he just, too many penalties. That's what cost him.
Yep, disastrous day for the likes of June. P8 from 3rd on the grid, and his main rival in the championship, Blizzard, romping away to victory. There's the final results of the Austrian Grand Prix. VSR Blizzard winning from Neo in 2nd with CSR Leon with a brilliant 3rd. Incredible performance from the Toro Rosso Honda driver. TTG Poe, I always struggle with that. And the Renault was 4th, couldn't quite make it back-to-back podiums. His TTG teammate Lambo 5th from 17th. What a drive. Cliffy comes home 6th. Francis 7th. Zoom home in 8th. And what a fantastic race here in Austria. Damp conditions really made it interesting, made it difficult out there on the track for the drivers, and it showed for some that they could handle it and others that they couldn't. And Zoom in particular really seemed to struggle out there in the damp weather, didn't he?
Yeah, no doubt about it. But even if he was having a good race, still, I'm not really sure he would have had a match with Blizzard. Blizzard all round, it's just in the best form he's been in ILR up to this point. And the drivers who are chasing him, or at least attempting to chase him at the moment, they've got to raise their game significantly to get to his level. Yep,
the consistency is just mind-boggling from that man. So let's see if we can get a few guys in for interview. Let's see if we can get them in. Right, I've got Blizzard invited. So Blizzard, Leon, you've suggested Leon or invited Leon? Yep, and who was the other podium sitter? It was Neo. We don't have him. Yep. Well, hopefully his teammate or maybe could invite him. I'll try and add him as a friend. Right. Well, hold station, folks. We'll get these guys in for interview if we can as soon as possible. See if Neo is still here in the lobby. I think so. Let's see if I can get his profile and try and add him as a friend. He is French. I don't know if he speaks English. Hopefully he does. I speak very little French. I know a little bit of French, but it doesn't go much beyond the basics, to be honest. Maybe a bit of hello and stuff like that. But beyond that, I don't think I really know too much French. But yep, there's Leon. He's joined us. We'll wait to see if we get hear from our race winner before we go to Leon. But a fantastic race here in Austria. Be sure to join us next week. I think we go to Silverstone for the next Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix. A lot of drivers going home for that one. Should be another cracking race. Another one, Mark, that can easily be affected by wet conditions, can't it?
Well, we both live in Britain and we both know how unpredictable the weather can be. So, I personally would have liked to see a dry race because this, Silverstone with a dry race with the cars going at full speed, it's a sight to behold. So, but whatever happens, I'm sure we'll get some great action.
Yep, well, no sign of Blizzard joining us at the moment. No sign of Neo. So let's have a quick word with CSR Leon, who for me was driver of the day. So a great job, Leon. Fantastic performance coming through onto the podium from what was, I think, P12 on the grid. So you must be absolutely delighted with that performance. A really disciplined drive.
Yeah, I'm gobsmacked, to be honest. Started P12 with a mainly wet setup, so just understeer in the dry, and then excellent start. Got stuck behind a few of the midfielders, knew I had the pace, and just was patient and just got through.
Yeah, a really patient driver. That was something I mentioned in commentary. It was the exact word, patient. You see a lot of drivers ducking and diving, going for moves, and when it might not be on, but you just patience all the time. Just wait for the moment, and it shows in your driving. It shows in the how few penalties you have. You're a man that thinks in the future, not in the moment, and it really helped you today, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm usually, for other tracks, I'm not as patient, but Austria, since there's only two main overtaking opportunities, you have to try and take them wisely, so I was just stuck back for a while.
Do you feel in the wet conditions it's a little bit harder to make a move? I know in real life it can often help overtaking, but without the DRS zones, did it make it harder than usual?
If it's just like you and someone else, it should be okay. If you've got a straight or something, you can just pass them then. But I think when I was trying to catch June, you got a toe off someone else, so it was like impossible to overtake him. Yeah. And in the wet, it's just you can't really dive it down the inside, because otherwise there's more chance of causing a collision. So I just sat back.
So how do you feel then? It's your first ILR podium. It's been a struggle to start the season, there's no doubt about that, but in recent times you've picked up much stronger results. That's now 4 points finishes in the first podium in the last 5 races after a poor start. You must be feeling a lot more confident, a lot happier with your driving. How does it feel to pick up that first podium?
It feels amazing. I don't think I'm going to get many more, but for the first few races I was just finding my feet in ILR, and then this race I wasn't really confident, but when I knew there was rain, I'm better in the rain than I am in the dry, so if every other race can have some wet, some part of it being wet, then I might be up there.
Well, congratulations on your podium, also earning my vote for driver of the day. I think a few people in the chat also agreeing with that. I've seen 1 or 2 people agree with that. Mark, have you got any questions for the man with his first ever podium in ILR?
Well, can you take this this great form you're showing in ILR1 into the other leagues you race in?
Yes, except for one in particular at the moment. Hopefully I can, yeah.
Me too, I hope so too.
Okay, well, is that it then? That wraps it up, I think, for the Austrian Grand Prix. It was an interesting race, plenty of action, some battles in the midfield, and a battle for the podium that went right to the wire. And in the end, as a result of those time penalties, Paul had the podium snatched away from him from CSR Leon. It was Blizzard winning. He extends his lead in the championship to what I think now is a mammoth gap of over 50 points. So things looking really good for him. And McLaren won too. You just seem to put another McLaren driver in that car, and whoever it is, they seem to deliver a 1-2 for them. A fine result here in Austria. That rounds it off from me. That's it from myself, from Mark, and from Leon, who was kind enough to join us for the podium interviews. It's next up, the British Grand Prix. We're heading home for that one. Same time, 5:30 next Sunday evening for round 10 of the championship. That's all. Goodbye.